All right, everyone, we are here with a very special guest. We are joined by Teddy Swims. I've Tried Everything But Therapy Part 2 is out now. How are you feeling?
I'm great. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We love it. We're excited. You got your Barstool hat on already.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just in the green room.
Yeah.
So I was like, it matches my outfit. How cute
It totally does.
You're
ready
to go.
So I like it.
We actually were in the same room as you recently, but we didn't say hi to you. We were at the Rare Impact Fund Gala.
Oh, no way.
We had the pleasure of watching you perform live.
Oh, what an honor to be a part of that, too. You know,
it was so cool, and honestly an honor to be a part of that and also just be there and watch you perform. Like it was magical, honestly.
She is the sweetest person. Selena Gomez is so kind. I didn't, I mean, of course you hope that, but I just always heard that, and she's just really such a sweet, wholesome human being.
She is, and everything that they're doing over there is great. So we loved being a part of it too, and watching you perform and everything you said. I thought was really great as well. And I mean, it all kind of ties back in, right? Because here you are, you got part 2 of I Tried Everything But Therapy. Hopefully, they're promoting therapy.
Yeah, and I have tried as well. Yeah. I think the title is kind of to initiate that conversation more, and I am currently in therapy too.
Yeah.
Just last night at 11 p.m. I had a little session, so I mean I'm
So
cooking. I'm cooking,
so
baby.
There you go. There you go. What led to a part 2? You put out part 1. Was part 2 always coming?
I mean,
was
kind of
separate?
like I feel like I was in such a like an emotional wreck of a place, in the first one, and I was healing from a lot of things and coming out of a really tough situation, and so I think I just didn't want to leave people on that just nothing but turmoil, in the first record. So I wanted to kind of, after I've been through, therapy and had some success and healed and went to therapy, kind of come write another album based on, once you get out of that shitty situation, on the other side of that pain, there's so much love and support and success and a baby and and so
congratulations.
thank you.
Congrats. You're gonna be a dad.
I am. Yeah. So I think I wanted to leave the listener on that note rather than say it does get better, and just stay with it. There is a way out of that shit, and on the other side there's love and there's so support and it gets better.
Absolutely,
So
and listeners can 100% relate to that message. And when you're thinking of putting out part 2, do you think to yourself, I want to make this just a totally separate album? Or, how do you decide I'm going to stick with the name instead of just like, I'm going to go totally new album with this?
Well, I think, having to do, we call the first one part 1, I think with the I kind of knew I wanted to do a part 2 because, again, I didn't want to leave them like that.
Yeah.
And so I think, we just ended up writing a bunch of stuff that kind of catered to where I was when we were writing this one, instead of,
Part 2, I Tried Therapy.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. But of course, you can't just say, I Tried Therapy part 2, So I guess just in order for it to be a sequel, it has to be the same.
Right.
I mean, I guess not. Fast and the Furious did 15 different names.
There's a lot of variations.
Fast and Furious, the Fast. Yeah. Furiouser. I don't know.
Most furious.
Yep. No, that's very true. But I mean, you're following your career this past, year, 18 months has just been an explosion, and you've been at it for a while and putting yourself online and doing it. What were those early days like, kind of really throwing your music out online?
I mean, I've been in, pretty sucky bands for a long time in my life too, so I've always been never afraid to fail, I guess. I think that's been the thing, is just keep going and keep failing until, nobody remembers the failures, everybody remembers the winning. So it's just you that have to get over your own failures, and if you can do that, I think there's a million times you can fail in your life. And so I never had an issue with just putting myself out there and hoping for the best, because it's never about the people that don't understand. I think it's the ones that do,
Yeah.
What made you realize the talent that you had? Because you were originally into football, right? And then you kind of got into theater a little bit.
Yeah, I sucked though originally. I was not good when we first started singing. I wasn't good at all. But I think when I first started, I know me and my best friend Jesse, who's still in my band and plays with me. When we started singing, we just loved loved it. We fell in love with it. His dad was like in bands and stuff, and we always knew that we wanted to do that, you know. But we sucked for a really long time, and then I think we just eventually got good. I think that's a beautiful part about the gift, is that it's. I think the gift is not always like having the talent immediately. I think it's the urgency and the drive to like, I gotta do this. I want to do this. I want to be the best at this.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I still think I'm always learning and getting there. You know?
What gave you that push to start posting on YouTube? Because I feel like, you know, you hear a lot of stories about people getting their start by posting on YouTube. What gave you that initial push?
Well, weird enough, we had so June 25th of 2019 was, you know, 10 years after Michael Jackson had passed. And so I think a couple days right before that, some website or something had put the stems of Rock With You online, and you know, I was sitting at the studio with my dear friend Lee, and I was like, let's just record it. Maybe we can upload it just to say, like, you know, I wasn't going to say happy 10 years. That's wrong. But,
Yes.
you know, to celebrate his life, you know, is what I'm trying to say. And
in memoriam.
Yeah. And so we did it originally to pay homage to Mike. And then next thing you know, it just started kind of going viral. And we were like, oh, shit. Well, I guess we should just keep on doing these covers. And sure enough, it just kept, for the next, you know, 6 months or so, we just kept on going and going and going, and it kept growing, and here we are. So
that has to be such a cool feeling.
Yeah, it was cool. I remember the first, like, we woke up the next day. I think it was only like 10,000 views the first night, but we were like, oh shit, dude, this is, we're partying, you know. Of course it sucks. It's like later on in life now, if I don't get like 10 million views on something, I'm like, you fucking wash up. It sucks.
It's all over.
It's crazy how the scale changes the more you go on. Well, now you have almost 50 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
That's so wild. I think we're looking at, it was like 60 something in the world on there, something, which I think we're 65 or something like that last time I looked.
Unreal.
I got a screenshot of me being the 69th most streamed artist in the world.
Obviously. You're like, I'm going to frame that. Who was your top artist this year?
It was Bryson Tiller for me. I love Bryson Tiller, man. He's my every album of his, I know every word to every song. He's like my gym guy. You know what I mean? Like that's my guiltiest pleasure is Bryson Tiller. I love Bryson Tiller.
I was on a huge Bryson Tiller kick a couple of years ago. Man. Like really, like I remember hearing one of his songs on the radio and I couldn't like find the name of it. I don't know why. The car I used to drive didn't have like, you couldn't connect like aux or whatever. So I would just listen to the radio. And I remember hearing this song over and over. It might've been like Exchange or one of those. And I was like, I need to find this song. And I was just on a huge, those are great.
Bro, he's so good though.
Yeah, he totally is. When you're joking before, you said, you know, when you started, you were not, so you say, not good. Do you have a moment that hit you when you're like, I might actually be kind of good now?
You know, I don't think I recall a time that was, I don't know, where I felt like, you know, the first time I felt like I was good, but I think I had, everybody hates their voice a little bit, right? Yeah. You know, so.
I don't like to listen to myself talk.
Oh, I know. This has got to be like the worst job. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's a fun job. But I mean, you know, I could never watch like even interviews. I think I sound worse talking than because I'm like, I'm not that Southern, am I? You know? And I feel like I'm just like talk like this when I listen to myself. I'm like, God bless, man. But I think I'd learned, you know, I kept learning how to sing and learning. So to the point that I know that dynamically and like technically and I can do all the acrobatics that a singer should be able to and all the runs and stuff. And I felt like once I knew the dynamics, I can listen to myself now and say, okay, there's no way I can tell myself I suck because technically I know I'm really good. But I still have like, you know, everybody hates the tone of their voice a little bit, you know? And so sometimes I'm like, God, well, I mean, you can't say you suck. You know, I think I learned how to be good enough just so I couldn't tell myself and hate on myself. You know?
That's fair. That's fair. I think I just watched my, I got married in September. I just watched my full wedding. Thank you. My full wedding video back. And I was like, I was like during my own vows, I was my God. I'm like, it's my wedding. I was struggling to even listen to that back. I was like, oh no.
Oh, you might be crying too. And she automatically makes you just like look at yourself like, you freaking baby. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly. I was like, get it together.
And you might be like, nobody wants to hear themselves sobbing. You know what I mean?
That is.
Well, congrats. That's a beautiful thing to be able to see.
Yeah, it's great. But in the moment, I was like, it's so funny. We really do. We talk so. I think it's because we talk so much and every day that when
I'm
we hear
tired of hearing
ourselves, it's
myself
like,
talk,
we already have to hear ourselves.
Or your
every day.
laugh, your own laugh too. You're like,
yeah. Well, I think you also sound different inside of your body. You know, than I wonder how it is for like babies to hear their mothers inside of them. Like they probably hear the way that you do, right? And then next thing you know, they're like.
They come out, they're like, that's
and
not
now
you.
You're thinking, you're thinking about all these things now because
it's
happening.
it sure is. It's I mean, I try to talk to that baby as much as I possibly can. Say, hey, bud.
A lot of singing.
Yeah, I try to. And she started doing this thing where she like, just the other day had posted her singing to the baby, and just singing and holding her belly. And I was like, God, it's so beautiful. I just like, made me cry. And like, you're so beautiful. She's going to be such a beautiful mother. I can't just watching how her body's changing and how on it she is, and how she's listening to it and how healthy she is. And
women are incredible.
It really is an amazing
God
thing.
is a woman.
Yeah.
Really. Dude.
Yep, for sure.
Yep.
And I
It's
feel
so
like
true.
you don't realize it until it's happening close to you, right?
Yeah.
Like you're seeing it firsthand and you like you don't even realize like our moms, you know what I mean? Like I came out of my mom. Like it's so like crazy to think about.
Yeah, I have like so much more like I always have, but I think I have so much more compassion for my beautiful mother now too, where I'm just like, Mama, thanks, dude.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
You actually rip, dude.
Right. Well, you're like, how do they do it?
Yeah.
It's so true. What was your like dynamic growing up with your family? Like, were they pushing you to kind of follow this avenue and this career?
Not when my dad was actually when I was 19 and I was coming out of I was in cosmetology school with my mom actually, weirdly enough. She always did hair growing up, and she was like, you can do your own schedule if you do hair, and she's like, I'll go get my cosmetology teaching license the same time you're going so we can go to school together, and so we were in hair school together for a bit, which was cute. And my dad is actually the one that told me, he's like, son, if you want to do music and you want to do this, like I think you should drop out of school and you should focus on that. If you don't put everything into it, it's not gonna happen, And so I just I always thank my dad for that, because I think when your child has a dream, it just don't ever underestimate the power of like what your parents can do by giving you permission.
Right.
That was everything I needed from my dad to be like, go for it, son, and me say, okay, fuck it, I won't go back to school.
Yeah,
so true.
that's incredible. I mean, absolutely, because you hear so many stories like you have to stay in school, you have to go to college, you have to get this degree, but sometimes following that path can lead you to success like this.
Well, and hair is just like such a touchy thing for people. I've never really messed up too bad on somebody, but it's just this tiniest little thing can be off, and somebody might just be like, like, yeah, it's great, I love it, and then go cry in their car for hours, and it's I find that people are like more willing to have a bad tattoo that lasts forever than a shitty haircut that lasts like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
They're
Now
so,
they'll go
like, it just makes
online.
everybody
Yeah.
That is so true. I was going to say the
They'll
same
go
thing.
online
They
and
go
expose
online.
you now. Like
Yeah.
they'll tell you they love it, and then they'll go online
They
and
walk
post a
out
video
right
about
to
how
the
they
car.
hate it.
I can't have that kind of power over people. I just that's not
Do
for me.
you do your own like beard and everything?
I mean, if I got to, but I try, and I usually just let it go, honestly.
You got your guy. Well, you mentioned tattoos. You do have a lot of them.
Yeah, I sure do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. When did the tattoos start for you?
I got my first one when I was 16. It was like right here on my arm. I just found a picture of it not too long ago too, and I got it covered up. It was a little cross with my last name in it, and another banner that said "Established 1992." It's so corny, and I just thought I was like, oh, I'm tatted up. I'm 16.
Yeah. That's the classic first tattoo
it
for
is.
a lot of guys.
Exactly. And it was
like
so
a lot of guys.
corny, dude. And so I remember like a couple years later, by the time I was 18, I was trying to cover it up. I was like, I think I was such a different person even by 18. So it's like I not that I'm the guy to take tattoo advice from, but like don't let 16-year-olds make any lifelong decision.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think you should just be a little older before you make lifelong decisions. You know what I mean?
I was gonna ask, you're allowed to get tattoos at 16?
Well, you can in Florida with parents' consent, or at least you used to when I turned 16. So I remember my mom had like taken me. We were in Disney World, taking my niece out there, and so I was like, please let me get it. And I didn't have my license, so we had like FedEx overnighted my license, and she's was remarried at the time, so we had different last names. So we went to like 5 different places to like try to find somebody that would do it with our last names being different. And she was such a trooper about it. And then, paid, and we're right there in the Disney World, so it was like way too expensive. But my mom was like, all right, if you want it, well, so she did all this work, and then I got it covered up because it was shitty.
All the lengths she went through just for you to cover it up.
It's like
she still talks about it.
When you're 16 and you have an idea in your head, like you can't let it go.
Okay.
You know,
well,
it's like you're gonna make
she
it
used
happen.
to hate that I would get face tattoos too, and then I remember the first time she finally accepted it. She was like, well, I get a doctor to put needles in my face all the time for a different reason. I'm doing my Botox and fillers all the time. So, and then she ended up, there's a little moon somewhere on my head.
Yeah, right there.
She's got a matching one now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's really cute.
What's your favorite face tattoo that you have?
Oh God, I don't know. There's so many of them. I think the first one I got, this one that says "Home at Last," I got from my granddad. He had passed away. He was a Pentecostal pastor, and one of the things my grandma said is like, he's home at last. So I had gotten this tattoo to commemorate him, because he had always told me like, son, the calling of God is without repentance. Don't get your face tattooed, And so just to like kind of piss him off one time, it was like, as soon as he was dead, just get one in commemoration of him. Like,
this one's for you.
Like a fuck you, I love you.
Is it Squirtle on your hands?
No, it's a Bulbasaur.
Oh, Bulbasaur. Okay, I was like, I know it's I was like, it's a Pokemon that I'm.
He's cute.
Very cute, very cute. I like it. I mean, I gotta ask about. That's right here. I gotta ask about the tolerance, because now it's like, do you not feel anything like getting a tattoo?
No, it gets
like you
worse.
have on your eyelids. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it gets worse and worse. The older I get, the more like I hate getting touched with a needle. Oh, it sucks. I started this like stupid ass tattoo on my back like 4 years ago, and it's so painful that I'm still scared to go back and finish it. So I tell anybody, when they get back tattoos, just go for it and get it done. Like I know so many people with unfinished back tattoos, because it's just the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
What did these feel like?
It's not so bad. It's like, it's pretty quick, but the needle has to be thin to not puncture, obviously. Right. But you do feel your eyeball like bouncing with it, which is it's irritating. You're kind of crying underneath it. But I always like. The Carter 3 is like one of my favorite albums of all time when I was coming up, and so I just, Lil Wayne had his eyelids tattooed. One of the things I first ever said when I was a kid is like, I want my eyelids tattooed. That Fear of God stuff is so sick.
That's the first thing I think of when I see any sort of eye tattoo is Lil Wayne.
Yeah, so I had to. I was like, man, I want to be Lil Wayne.
You're almost there.
Okay, I also have to ask, because I feel like it may be a silly question, but I don't know if people will know or not, but where did the name Teddy Swims even come from?
Well, I've been Teddy for a long time in my life, and then Swims was like an acronym for someone who isn't me sometimes, which was kind of like our whole crew, and it kind of slapped together. I like to switch it up though. Sometimes when people ask, I say it's soft wiener in my shorts, or like someone who I massage sexually. I've come up with a good few of them that I can.
You're like, I got a few in the back pocket.
It depends who you're talking to.
Yeah. Sometimes I just answer like, so it's Teddy, someone who I massage sexually.
Yeah. I could see you just like pulling that out in something that's like a more serious,
very serious,
and really throwing they're really thrown off.
Like, you could have gotten us there if you just went with us and you were dead serious. That's why I think we would have been like, oh, funny.
No, that's great. So you've always gone by Teddy.
Yeah, because my real name's Jayton, and so I think like it really kind of started really taking off more when I was like waiting tables or when I was at church and stuff, because I think for like old ladies too, Jayton was always like Jamie, Jason,
right,
Jayton, so it was just like, there's our little Teddy.
Teddy's like, Teddy.
You look like a Teddy. Yeah, that's why I got it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So it's just been that way forever,
There you go. So that it just totally clicks. I mean, I think everybody and everybody they know in their life has heard Lose Control, and it's crazy how much it's blown up. Did that song feel special to you?
I think we knew that it was like, I know. I remember when we first had the real first draft of it, and we knew it was something special. I think even Julian, who produced it, my executive producer, my dearest friend, man, he was, when we were there, like we were writing at a camp for a week in Palm Springs, and I remember him hearing the beat for the first time, and he's like, I just know I got this like idea for, this is something we have to do this week. It's like I lose, and he's like, some like Teddy run right here, and I think it's gonna be sick. You know, we have to do this. And I think when we finally finished it, it was just like, oh, this is gonna change my life. Did I know it was gonna be this big? Like, hell no.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna break. You know, I just didn't know it was gonna be like the second longest running top 10 of all time now, which is so nuts. Like one of the best songs ever.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy thing to think.
I was looking at the Spotify numbers. I was like, oh my God.
I mean, it truly is such an incredible song, though. It's like one of those songs you listen to where you really feel every emotion from your voice. I think it's so incredible.
And it's stuck in your head all day.
All
like
day.
Once you hear it once, like you're like going the whole rest of your day, you're singing it, which I love.
I think the best part of it is that, you know, I even when I watch people cover it, it's one of those songs from the very first line of the verse, you know that chorus is coming, and it's like, if you're not going to hit the run, like, don't bother. You know, I think there's a similar thing to be said, like when I go to a bar, like or a restaurant or something, and somebody's doing a cover of like Tennessee whiskey, you know, and you're like, are you gonna hit the run though? Are you gonna hit it? If not, don't bother. You know, help me just control. I'm like, you better go for it. Or just leave it alone. You know?
We joked on this show once. My fiance, I was away for a weekend. I came home and he was like, you know, I just have to say, when I put these sunglasses on, I feel like I could sing like Teddy Swims. Like I feel like I could sing Lose Control. And we tried to have him do it on the show, and we were like, cut. We were like, this isn't going the way that you thought. But love that you feel like you got it. You know,
it's just a certain cool factor, right? Like you said, you're talking about like those Teddy runs. Like it's just it's a certain automatic cool factor that I think it's right.
And now with the success of that song, right? It's so big, it exceeds all the expectations, even though you know it's going to be so big. Now, when you put out music, are you sort of like chasing that next one that's as, you know, or are you kind of just like letting it go, and if it's meant to happen?
Yeah, I think when you try to gear yourself to write the hit, I think you end up getting in the way of the creativity that might actually be something else in its entirety, you know. So, but one thing I will say that I've learned is that was the first time I really had like a gut feeling in my stomach that I was like, this is going to change my life, and then watched it change my life. And so now I know how to trust that gut feeling more. And so now when I know I get a hint of that, even if we're at the first couple lines of the first verse, I'll be like, I got that feeling again. Let's chase this, and let's just keep trusting that gut. And so I think it's made me more open to, I guess, the universe in its entire, I like this, to the little, I always call it like the little elf walking in, the little muse, you know. And I think it's made me closer to trusting my gut with more things even in my life too, you know, instead of taking too long to decide, or going in a room and being like, is this a bad idea, or maybe this is, I just lead with my gut now, because I find that when I feel it, I'm like, yeah, this is it. So
for sure,
I've learned to trust myself a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, following that intuition.
Yeah.
With the part 2 of this album, do you have a favorite lyric on the album?
Oh man, I don't know. I think I have to give credit to maybe Mickey Echo. There's a song called "If You Ever Change Your Mind," and God, that song it says, if you ever change your mind, don't let me know. Don't say goodbye, just walk out the door. Don't say it's over, don't tell me lies, 'cause it's the only way I'll survive. If you ever change your mind. It's so sad but beautiful. It's like it's a beautiful love song, but like kind of with a tinge of like, ooh, ouch, you know?
Right. It makes you feel that.
Yeah,
that's certain.
the first time he sang that chorus to me, I just sobbed. I was like, oh my God, give that to me, please.
Oh my gosh. I'm now regretting that we didn't ask you to sing the entire interview. We should.
I know. I was like, I just got chills, and I was like,
no, it's
we could
really
just let you.
No, I know.
Follow that.
It like renders you speechless almost.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
okay, I don't even know what I was going to ask next, but
I'm talentless. That's how you feel after. I've got nothing in me.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Oh my gosh, no, that is so great, and you have gotten to work with so many amazing artists from so many different genres, which I think is really cool about your sound and your music and everything. Like when you see, you know, people from the pop world and maybe EDM, R&B, like all kind of like all different people that you have worked with in the past. Like, do you kind of feel like you transcend like one sort of genre?
Yeah, I mean, I've fallen in love with music and this instrument, you know.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many ways to emphasize emotions. You know, I think certain genres can really emphasize like emotions a little bit more. You know, when I'm feeling in love or like sexy, I want to hear R&B music.
Yeah.
You know, but if I'm feeling angry, of course I'm going to metal. You know what I mean? Or if I want to have a blast and, you know, I'm getting hammered and I'm even at the gym or getting hammered at the gym. I'm listening to some hip hop, you know what I mean? And so I think certain things kind of lend their voices more towards certain things. And so I've really fallen in love. One of the things I'm like the most proud of that I've done this year, did last year, but is out now. I actually got a chance to write on the Linkin Park record too, that just came out too. And I got a chance to be with them a good bit too. And it was dude, they're the coolest guys.
That's
ever.
really
awesome.
I got to just see them in Paris too. And Emily's so badass, dude. They're the coolest.
Yeah.
Like one of my first albums ever owned was Hybrid Theory. And so being able to like write with them and work with them was the coolest thing ever. I just talked to Mike not too long ago. I was like, all right, man, are you guys gonna like feature on the next Steady Swim?
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, I scratch your back.
I'm trying to. I want to get back in that hard rock. You know, I want to get back in rock and roll, man. I miss it, and that's one thing I don't think I've like gotten to scratch that itch again. You know.
Yeah. That's
is there, you know, besides them, or is there another artist that you're like, I'm dying to work with them?
Well, you know, of course, like I not in rock, but Adele is like is my number one. Like Adele, I would love to work with, and but in the rock world, you know, I've always been a huge fan of my dear friends in Devil Wears Prada, and so I'm always like, they're, you know, super metalcore, and I grew up on, and so I'm always trying to be like, you know, call me, dude.
Yeah, make it happen.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my God, Adele, that would be just.
Yeah, I know, she's so beautiful, man. What an angel. Yeah, I would really, really, really just. I think I'm just being this close to her and hearing her sing would just. I would probably be useless. You know, I'd probably just be like, yes, ma'am.
Whatever you say.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor.
No, that is so true. I mean, well, we'll manifest that one because that
I think everybody would be just
really.
We would all be blessed.
What the last few years, like, what has touring been like for you? You know, doing shows, getting in front of crowds.
God, it's been a long. You know, we've been on the road nonstop for about 3 years now, and it's just nonstop. I love it. I'm so grateful. We're getting ready to do our first like European arena run too, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
Dude, it's so cool. We got background singers now and stuff. And one thing I'm trying to figure out still, I'll tell you guys about. We got this like. We just made it. I've been asking about this for like 2 years. My manager says it's going to be like an insurance shit show, but I'd always
love
wanted
the sound of it already.
I always wanted to do like a hot dog cannon, you know, like where it's like you can like kind of put like foot long shaboing boings in like a kind of like a potato gun, you know, but
it's a t-shirt cannon, but for
like
hot
World
dogs.
War II musket, you know, and then boom, hit it up and watch that thing. Maybe people try to get at it.
They try to catch it.
So I really,
those videos would be everywhere.
I'm really looking forward to debuting it. I think it'd be hilarious. They're just Shamu the whale out of the.
And that would be like your signature thing, you know. It's like people have that at their shows.
Wouldn't that be? And I actually think you could make it work because at the end of the day, you could totally turn it into something like people would be like, "Oh, I got hit." In the face.
Yeah, Steve Aoki's throwing cakes.
Yes, I was just going to say that was the exact example I was going to use. Well, see, if he could do cakes, you could be like, here's Teddy Swim's hot dogs coming at you.
Luke, my manager's argument though is because I was like, people do T-shirts and cakes. He said, yeah, but the thing is, like, hot dogs are kind of like eyeball shaped, you know? They're kind of asking for
right,
you to make someone blind. And I'm like, well, look,
you might have to test it out. Like, have them throw a couple hot dogs at your eyes, see how hard it hurts. And if you
especially if you let them know, you got to just tell them,
like, in the air and let it fly.
Who wants to try to catch a hot dog?
Yeah, right. And that's they're
also,
consenting.
is there any vegans in this area? Because I also want to be respectful of that.
Yeah, right. Very respectful.
And also, like, you're not going full direct shot. Like, maybe you shoot it up in the air, it gets some air time.
It'll flop. It'll go down gently.
Exactly. It'll fly.
You can hand out. It could be like hand out buns. You can have them try and catch the dogs.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So many different things you could do.
I mean, yeah.
Hand them a cup of chili.
Yeah.
Follow your heart.
Who wants cheese? You got a cheese gun.
You can tell your manager that we said that
Chicks in the office approves.
that this is a great idea.
It's a good idea.
You can make it work for sure.
You performed at Pizza Fest, not this past summer, the summer before.
Yeah.
When you were told that you were opening up for the band at Barstool, were you kind of like, what the hell? I'm the opener.
Dude, it ended up raining so bad that evening too. Oh my gosh! And I mean, we had a blast regardless. It was so much fun, but it was the scariest thing ever after it rained because I took my first my first ever like private flight. We had to go do somebody's like wedding right after that, and I mean, I thought, you wait your whole life to get on like private flight situation, and be like, this is gonna be so badass. And I mean, it was the tiniest plane in the world, man. It was I swear it's about as big as from here to here to you guys are, And I remember I don't know if they could see me. I'm gonna just stand up and demonstrate. So I mean, you feel the turbulence on these small planes.
Yeah.
So I sat there maybe 3 hours like freaking the fuck out, right? And at one point I'm getting ready to get up and use the toilet, and in the back area, check this out. So there's like right underneath the you kind of have to lift the thing, and I'm sitting here like trying to do this number to take a pee, and my buddies are like, just sit down, bro. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, I guess I could.
You could just.
It never occurred to me because I don't sit down when I pee, And I was like, oh, of course you can do that.
So was that the first time you ever sat down and peed?
Well, I mean, you usually pee when you poop, man. I mean, but I guess I just never was like.
And you can
That's
say
like a guy thing,
and you can say it was on a private plane
when you poop.
Do you not pee when you poop?
No.
Weird.
Well, not sometimes, but not every time.
No. That's weird. I thought
I
the
think
rule
that's a
was,
guy thing. I've had this conversation before.
I thought the rule was it's always a pee-pee time when it's a poo-poo time, but it's not always a poo-poo time when it's a pee-pee time. I've heard that.
It's a 2-in-1 deal. I think it's a guy thing.
Totally.
I think it's a guy thing.
It's,
weird.
Yeah. Everybody's working with we're working with different,
right, exactly. We got different things going on.
Yeah, we got different equipment.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, different equipment. But what a story for your first private flight to be like,
I was so terrifying, and it was storming out there. It was so terrifying.
To get to Pizza Fest.
Right. To go, you mentioned you were doing somebody's wedding. Is that something you still do? Like, will you still do weddings?
Yeah, of course. It's definitely a lot more expensive, than you see. It definitely is. I most of the time when people ask me, I'm like, girl, just buy a house, Like,
one of my favorite, I do like, and I've there's really only one other person I've actually had the guts to like, and I'm not asking you that, but I'm asking, like, I asked Mount Joy once to be like, all right, guys, you tell me, like, what's ballpark, like, what's the number? And they told me, and I was like, woo, okay, so you guys aren't performing at my wedding.
Right.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, and I'm honored for the ones I've done.
It's amazing. It's the coolest thing.
And then you could just like, it's fun. You can hang out and get.
And it's like the couple clearly loves and cares about having you there that much.
Well, yeah, and probably they're already doing your song as their first dance or something anyway.
Totally.
And so it's like I'd be honored to be there and sing it for you, but I've just,
How many do you think you've done?
Oh, man, a few. But the last one I had recently did was my sweet friend Dominic Wilkins, and he's a Hawk, Atlanta Hawks legend, man, one of the best players of all time. And of course, I was just like, look, man, if you just pay for my travel, for him, I'd do anything, man. Dominic Wilkins is the GOAT. So
that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's
is really cool.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, so I'll take it you won't be performing at mine, but
I would be honored. I would.
Don't tell her fiance. She'd freak out.
Yeah. But that's really cool that you do that for a friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I love to.
Teddy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
This was really awesome. Everybody, you can go and listen to the new album, Tried Everything But Therapy Part 2. When this airs, it'll be out. Friday the 24th.
Yep.
Everybody get listening. I know you've released a couple singles here and there from the new album. It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I just
Incredible.
love Giveon great. So
Yeah,
So
he's,
good.
He's the
yeah,
dopest,
yeah,
man.
amazing. So everyone go check that out. Thank you so much
Yes.
for joining us.
Thank you
for
so
having
much,
me, y'all.
Teddy.
Yeah, appreciate it.